And good morning, afternoon, whatever it happens to be for everyone. Going to be playing some more Sunless Seas here. Just fix these volume settings. There we go. Another wonderful day, eh? Sailing the Unterzee. Alright, let's get right on into it. Last time I believe we finished Mr. Sack's quest again, and then we posed as Mr. Sacks and took all of the various charity that was offered by people in the area, which seemed to have worked out quite well for us. And we also know that we can get some strategic information. Like we have some port reports to hand in. May as well do those first and foremost. Port reports. No, we don't have any. Okay, I thought we did. Got full crew, 971 echoes to our name. Also speak to some of our officers. Wants to be taken. You know what? They collect corpses. Vast, noble, complicated corpses. What I could learn, what I could see. My dearest Captain, if we ever find ourselves in the Shenanate, I do hope you might fancy to release me from our arrangement. Shenanate can be found in the far east of the Unterzee. Irrepressible Cannoneer. Oh, I have 20 fuel and enough money to buy up some more, so that might be worthwhile. How many secrets do I have? 5 secrets saved up. But I think we still need torpedo components. Yeah, no point in that then. Somewhere, the Carnate or Port Canelian. The agent will allow you to establish an information network. We need vital intelligence. Ask about the dark spec. Well now, the Admiral is a man of principle. Very straightforward, very traditional in his views. I think it's rather courageous of him to expect the Navy to operate without outside assistance. And he has excellent taste in both chamber music and wine. I hope he makes my feeling clear. What's your role? Kind of diplomacy that doesn't get written down. I'm attached to the Admiralty, not the Foreign Office. London is not what she was, but she still has interests abroad. I look after them as best I can. I hope you're patriotic enough not to ask too many details. Huh? Network's a diplomatic agent. Okay. What about our journal? What have we got? Two captains have died. Here's our hull. Hull is fully repaired. We're quite full up on stuff. We're done with Mr. Sack, so we did do that. London is recovering. We have Storm and Storm's attention. Though I think... Nope, no, we've sold the advice for captains. Very good. Anything in here? Purchase a live specimen? No, I think we're good. I say let's just... Still want some stuff from us, but we cannot provide it so far. The map isn't completely full yet, so we have lots of things we can do. We found Polythreme, we found Godfall, we found the Sea of Lilies. Suppose we could go and follow a southern route again. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. We'll head down. Or up. No, let's head down. Actually, where are the salt lines? There they are. Not a terrible idea. We go across to the salt lines. Let's just head south for a moment. Do some explorations. Hello, the blue gentleman. How are you? Ah, yes. It's probably very early for everyone. Exploration is the name of the game. Do all the juicy things we can. There's our terror. Could be better. Wander a little way along the shore from the dock. You turn and there is a long, lank brown man at your shoulder. Listen, he says, I have a story for you. I needed a Z story. Okay, a rambling tale. His story has a wedding full of murders and a leafless forest and a vast serpent which eats souls. The tale winds on and on like winds on and on like the serpent, until you are lost in the dizzy toils of its sinister ships and its glamorous corpses. You're not awake, he's gone. But not, it seems, before searching your pockets for small change. I lost 2 echoes to him. Let's chat to the fisherman. We've gotten a port report. We don't really need... Oh, I should have bought some supplies. I'm going to buy a couple of supplies here, I guess. How much will that cost? Ah, yeah, sure. Cider and cave dory. The trees beneath are scraggly and wretched, scraping a living with parasynthesis. But the apples of Mutton Island are tart and powerful, perfect for cider. Cider? Cider! This stuff is stronger than it looks. You stretch out in your seat, stare through the leaded windows at your Safely moored ship and find yourself whistling. The landlord gives you a friendly grin and goes back to whetting his cleaver. Only managed to lose one terror out of it. Alright. Doubt they have anything else. Nope. Away we go. Hello, Xintharia. We found us something. Hello, Flirt. Final lucky shot. Good, some supplies from it. I think we'll go take that down. The vast eye is back. Fair enough. I've never actually played House of Many Doors, or whatever that is. Is that a Fallen London story? I'm not sure. We'll just compile a port report. Up to the Covent. It gives us some fragments. Victory tops the walls. We watch through a spyglass. They leap in wells, slashing each other with a variety of frightening weapons. God, one of them just turned a somersault. We have no shops or shipyards. Cool, let's away. Well, they looked hostile, but I guess they're not. Oh, hello, Double Dash Blank. Hello from Australia. Indeed, damn the torpedoes and all I had full. I'm tempted to go buy some fuel at, yes, we're going to go get some fuel at our friendly neighborhood underworld. You fellas have done me in once before. No, thank you. The size of a dog and shaped like a dog, but people seem to think that it's a spider by any other name. Let's see about the Iron Republic. That'll be expensive. City is tempered with shattered columns that slip through time impossible thoughts, then finds his way through the labyrinths of word. Capture his own eyes. What happened? Did you pay for it? Why did you pay for it? You gained 3 terror, lost 50 echoes, gained 15 fragments, and the Parliament of Flies is open for business. Oh, well, we can sell this romantic literature to them. This will earn you 0 times Colossal Flute Core. May as well sell it off. And buy some more fuel. Maybe it's an orb weaver breed. I'm not sure. It likes to make circles. We'll compile a report. I have to increase my pages again. You let me do pages? Now you're mirrors. I think you're pages. Yes, pages. Yeah, we're full on fuel, pretty poor on supplies, but we'll see how it goes. We're close to Port Carnelian. There's something over there, so let's head that way. Because I didn't realize what I was doing, you Rambo. That's a juggernaut. I don't want to tussle with that. It's fine. I have plenty of money, plenty of time, and plenty of life left. The promised sea, all through this place, the song of the drownies and the shivering sweet. Oop. A lawn fluke. And it's even worse because it's seen me. I have no desire to fight that. Thankfully they only do like 2 damage. very chancy challenge. Let's try. Damn. I've lost 100 echoes as a result. That's very unfortunate. But we can buy some supplies for a bit of a cheapness here. Port report for Carnelian. No, 33% chance isn't good enough for that. Oh well, off we go. Actually, was there a shipyard? No, just the Cloudery's Heart. Ooh. That's interesting. What do I have in my hold? Mushroom Y, Birkin Pilsner honey, and Zoop. Hello, Ramsham. Very well, yourself? Don't need something else now. Cannot repair. Fair enough. This is surprisingly strong. They don't seem to be interested in me just yet. And they do 15 damage. Not okay with that. I think we lost him. Oh, we've crossed into this zone now. See what the bottom coast has to offer. More of those birds. Not okay with this. We're being very risky all of a sudden. Maybe I should turn my sight north. Ah, a light ship. Yes, coffee is indeed required. Yeah, it's a little bit annoying. I didn't realize I was giving it away for free. I thought it gave me like a fluke core, which is what I read that as, so I guess I was wrong, but yeah. Seems pointless to have a sell for nothing button. I don't want this trip to have been for nothing, but we took so much damage. Suppose we'll just have to travel through here and see what we can find. Oh well, plenty of things to be done. And we have plenty of fuel, so we can just keep on going. Oh, there's winning maximum bacon. You can win by fulfilling your ideals or some secret objectives. I suppose it also depends on what you consider winning. There's plenty of things you can just get done and be like, that's it for this, Captain, time to start again. You can just go and retire at your lodgings. Let's turn in a bit. Now we can fight some bats, that's nothing too terrible. Easy. Yeah. Now, my current objective is just to retire. But that might change if I find one of the good ones. I think I'll make for, what was it? Shepherd Isles and then Pigmode Island. Grab some port reports so this wasn't a completely wasted trip. If we use enough fuel and have 20 free, I might even go and see how our friends at the salt mines are doing. Oh yes, it's always relaxing until that last cannon shot runs out and you're like, oh, that was all my health. Five echoes. Well, let's compile the port report. Cannoneer, Chief Engineer, First Officer. We don't have a navigator yet. Sure. A long way from home. We've heard of the Pillared Sea where Irem lies. Wise man from Irem came here 80 years ago. He planted 3 pillars. They were big as his fingers when I were young. Now they're as you see them. In my son's time, they'll become as big as dock cranes. Cool. Memory of distant shores. Of course, the bearded watchman tells you there are no actual shepherds on the Shepherd's Isles. Sheep are mostly illegal here. No, indeed, it's just the name of the gentleman that found the islands. Greybeard sitting in the village square and solemnly. No sheep, one says, but plenty of tails. Ask us anything. Okay. I think we've done all we can. Actually, do they have a store? Ah, they do have some supplies, but it's a bit expensive and we're not that far. Oops. Yes, I wonder why the sheep are illegal. Probably got something to do with the way the Unterzee treats them. Yeah. It was the furries. They don't need me to resolve anything. Port report. Any shops? Nope. How is Caviar doing? Here. Too busy by far. Thing about sheep. Very needy creatures. You need you to do basically everything for them. If I can avoid it, I don't want to fight this Gillifleur. But I will if I have to. Damn, didn't get a lucky last shot. I like to imagine that if you leave sheep alone in the Undersea for too long, they just turn into abominations. Ah, the air trembles, a breath of change passes. We'll head straight for London. There was a funny Delta Green story once that there was a village who'd kept sheep, and the sheep were completely normal, except that they kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. You'd find massive sheep. And apparently they were eating the dreams, and they were becoming larger and larger as a result. Can't remember a lot of the details, but that was the general gist of the story. And I think that if you went to sleep near the sheep, they stole your dreams and you became a servant to one of the elder gods. Or Migo put your brain in the cylinder, as Migo will want to do. Yeah, essentially. Oh. No, that's fair enough. Not everyone's into horror. Oh, what would you like? Trifling inconvenience? Mount Palmerston, you say? So kind as to deliver this little gift to our friends in Mount Palmerston, when they will see how it gets here about it. When you come back, we'll cover your expenses. Bon voyage, as my aunt, who was French by birth, if not inclination, used to say. Very good. Drydock. Yep, we have plenty of favor, so we're going to repair there for 24 echoes. I mean, there's plenty of people are poor at doing accents and determined that they are French for reasons other than that. Move to Montreal. I should also put my new officer in. Well, he's a first officer, so you. Mirrors 5, mirrors 6, veils 3. Mirrors 6, pages 3. Depends on the situation, I guess. Okay, nothing much happening in London right now. Dark Spectral Admiral. Commit. Oh well, he still gave us some fuel as a result. Heavy Rock. Pigmote Island. Iron Republic, which he's just going to burn. Yep. Fragments. Some fuel. Port Carnelian. Oh, do I already have a commission for him? I must do. Objectives. Mangrove College in the Swallowing Isle. I need to find the Mangrove College. Ah, we do need to find them there exactly. Find 7 hunting trophies or 7 pieces of scintillac. We can find scintillac with the cavies if we need it. We shall see. Oh, it's a cultured nation. And they're pleased. We should visit my quarters. Yes, we'll tell tales of far-off lands. Child guys goes round his pennies, they store up the memories of his dream fuel. Much later you find the scene you describe scroll on a foolscap sheet by a childish hand. Now have 5 memoirs, Z Fever. No, just gonna go to the shops and purchase some supplies. Yes, that'll do. And now we're bound for Mount Palmerston. Yes, I have played Sunless Skies. I intend to play it actually after we do a couple of the run-throughs of this. I think that'll be a good game to transition into. I haven't gotten far in Sunless Skies, but I have played it. Compared to this one, I think that the combat is significantly better. I think that the way the quests are handled is a lot better, and exploration works easier. I also like that you can do a side-to-side dodge, because in this game it's pretty much like, unless you have a certain ship, you're just going to get hit, and you just have to be able to tank it. So it's all determined on what your armor values are. Yeah, I also like the storyline a little bit more, like the dying suns and all the other sort of weird stuff that's out there. Which isn't a spoiler, that's just like said in the first 5 minutes of the game. And there's a lot more regions, so the world's a lot more expansive, you know, you don't just have this Unterzee. I think you've got like a total of 4 maps that are all, you know, this sized, with their own weird little things to find and do. Pirate frigate, I'd really rather not, but you're forcing my hand here. Especially because you're so damn slow. One supplies, one fuel, and a crate of curiosities. What have we got in here? 2 extra fuel, nice. Look, they existed and there were pirates. They were going to pay the game. Also, the fuel in Sunless Skies, that is just infinitely better. Here it's like you people can't keep coal near the engine without throwing it in. I was gonna go for about another half hour. Sorry. About another hour. But I can always just keep going if there's no one ahead of me, and the queue is basically how long I determine for it. You got something you want to do, Foxy? Let's go for a explore of the moon. You again. Eh. Oh, I'll be going for ages then, Foxy. Yeah, there's nobody in front of me, and I'm just gonna keep on keeping on. Another afternoon at the Errant Limpet. I gained a terror. Rude. Ah, the pirate poet is here, performing for a crowd outside the Limpet. Verses amongst iniquity. She is halfway through the familiar baptism in glass as you approach. The pirates and corsairs are enraptured by the heavy thumps of verses, as are your own crew. She moves on to her most famous work, Remember Polythrene. For finally noticing you, during the scream of clay, as the applause and clinking of coins fades, she tilts her head towards the pub door. Let's have drinks. An evening of haze and regret. Where is this? London? Venderbite? Napoli? No, it's the morn. Your morn. Your mouth is dry, your body sore. Your head, you clasp your hand to it. It burns almost as much as it aches. Memories rush back. The clap of the pirate poet's hand on your shoulder as she describes the aftermath of your last encounter. The story of countless days spent fighting her way through the slime and stench of ZB's stomach. Rescued by slavers, then shoveling coal until opportunity arose to escape. And then there was more, now just aching all over, but mostly there. Why there, of all places? A bandage. It is wound firm, and it is a wound from an ill-judged duel. No, you recall, a parting gift given with a smirk and baptized with a loving splash of cheap whiskey. You peel back the fabric. A tattoo. Oh. Oh no. An occurrence. A pirate's tattoo quality now obscene, illegal, anatomically most improbable. So we've reached a rapport with the pirate poet, but I have an obscene, illegal, anatomically most improbable tattoo somewhere. What does that do? Wonderful. I could sell them my unstamped creative brilliance stoles, but I think we have other things. I think it's on my dick. Judging from the description of why does that hurt? The old prison discourager. Anywho, moving on to where this officer's unfortunate tattoo might be. We have a mission in Mount Palmerston. Where would I find that tattoo? I would think it'd be in here. Memoirs. Ah, there it is. Yep. Yep. Let's move on. I'm sure there's no way that'll come back to haunt us. Now we just have to avoid the lifebergs and get to Mount Palmerston, which is another port we can refuel at. For cheap. Yeah, one of those damn ships. Looks like it's avoiding me. And there's Mount Palmerston. Oh, Legion's been fine around. Same old Legion. Really don't want this four-stick Corsair to hit me. Hey, Stuka. Deliver your smuggled souls. Well, that's one thing done. We shall now explore the island. Okay, let's read this properly. Yeah, I understand real life kicking your ass as well, Iran. Happens a lot. A high place, the Z like a rippled sheet of night green jay, the roof of the neath above, bellied with stalactites and pricked with false star. Look out across the border. What are you thinking of? Oh, let's think about our future. Better days coming. You are the captain of your ship, but never the captain of your fate. One day, though, one day. We got a port report from that. And buy some supplies and some cheap fuel. We'll fill up to 10. Don't want to be too full. We haven't taken any damage yet, though. Let's let that go past. Oops, accidental tap. Can't resist stuck enemy. Two types underneath. The quick and the dead. Damn it. Itchy trigger finger. It's a cutthroat game, which means I have to be as cutthroat as the game is. One more shot. What did we get there? Some new fuel. Wonderful. Not exactly the best thing. Yeah, free kill. I'll take it. I suppose we could always go down to Nuncio. See what's happening at the postman. And continue our search for the Khanate. We got some fuel out of it, so may as well use it. Well, not quite hell, but pretty close to it. Top of hell. ODST bag 337, not doing too bad. Undersea is calm for the moment. Light westerly blows with a chance of madness. Sickly yellow light glimmers for a moment, then fades. Well, we've not been this far east yet. A brief stop at Nuncio, and then we'll continue on. Ah, indeed, the usual. Oh, a rat barge. He doesn't seem interested. Or capable of catching us. Oh, really? I was this close to the carnate oil? I'm mad. So close to the Khan's glory. Should have known Nuncio would be so close to it. Need 5 sacks of dark drop coffee beans. Neferact. It requires drowning pearls. I only have 4 of them. Davis Timon. Let's give that a shot. Cruise past the clan palaces. Night blazes. Didn't really gain anything. Take a meeting contesting a matter of no importance. There's a place one doesn't speak of, and officially a former servant of the Timon who did not engage in gatherings of strategic information did not disappear to the Unterzee port, Xinthar, which officially does not exist. At length you hear what this servant did not look like, and strict prohibition against pursuing him. Officially, no one in Clan's glory would have any interest or will be at all inclined to reward you with money and connections if you were to go to Anth and would not care for a report of this situation or any information he may be unable to bring home. Got it. Hello, Gavar. Interesting. Shops do you have? None. Shipyards? None. I'm guessing that they're probably just not open to us right now. The Abora Gate. Khan's shadow should be somewhere. Don't know where Arth is. Suppose we'll just continue our ventures so far. I don't think there was anyone who wanted to get off at Khan's Glory. Oh, interesting. They really stacked Khan's Glory and Bright close together, didn't they? Such is random seeds. Well, I don't think I've ever seen it this close together before. Well, today we've just discovered Bright, the ancient crystal castle. Frost found. We could take the tile as mechanic. I think I'm only going to cook it open. Ask about the castle? Once more tales of terror. We get enthusiasts here from time to time. Yes, we might be able to enter the castle before the appointed time. Might even find something of value there, but you'd be despoiling sacred ground, my friend. It will take your stories from you, it will take your essence yourself, and if you survive that, you'll likely anger the gods of the Zee. Yes, they're real as the corridors of Frostbound are. Stay away, my friend, stay away. Ooh, Fallout Tactics, yeah, that's a great one. We'll create a port report. Suppose there's a little bit more north. We can scout around here a little bit. The Sycamore Arch. Now you see we get into the frost and we lose engine power. Especially because there's a lifeberg right there and I don't want to fight that. On the surface the sun still warms the earth, or so one assumes. We'd like to leave this accursed blizzard now. Oh, rose petals. What have we found here? What is this? Interesting. I don't think I've ever seen this before. Discovered Carlisle's Haven. Irem, the pillared city. Compile a port report. We need dark drop coffee beans. Any shops? Oh, they have a lot. But they only exchange 3 secrets for a Sooth and Cooper longbox. Oh, an empty mirror catch box. Buy some supplies, I guess. We can give them away for free. Don't know why they're offering these things for free. But you can buy pretty much everything here. Interesting. Well, we only really need some supplies. We'll give us 20 of those. It's like if you accidentally sell things, you can come here and buy them back. Nothing in the shipyard. Oh well. An interesting place, but nothing of interest. Suppose some more south then. The nebulous reef. Still nothing to make me fantastically wealthy, though. Tussler's Channel. The gods, what is this? Interesting in design, functionally useless. Oh, we've reached the edge of the map now. Ah, the Shellanate. I had a reason to go here. Ah, no more Mr. Sachs for the moment. We've already dealt with him. Something is crying unusual wares. Follow the sound. We need a hunting trophy. Pay the chronicler to inscribe a Z story on a hunting trophy and you'll receive an outlandish artifact. Yeah, interesting. Well, we could always get the Clattery Air instead of this guy. A bit better. 200 new echoes. Well, thank you so much. And I have a strategic information. Shops. Stygian ivory. Whispering trophy case. Unsearing Enigma. Casket of Sapphires and a Carboy of Primordial Shrieks. For the flesh, he slithers, drool pouring from between his rotten teeth. The Gant pole, where the breathies die. Bring flesh, we sell it to the turtle eater. Fresher meath bring money to make. The Gant pole, said to be deep underwater, mostly by sailors who do not believe it truly exists. A redolent flesher merchant has requested meath from the Gant pole. Charming. How much will that cost? 30 echoes, sure. Nope, lost 30 echoes. I don't think... Retrieving information from Anth for Khan Glory. Port for Khan's Glory. Still haven't found Anth, though. I don't think we have anything else. We can't buy fuel here, so... we can head to the west. We shall continue. Some more of the carnate. Might be worth stopping here and seeing if they have any fuel available. Ogaday's Bridge. Summertime is a brutal time. Dislike merchants and they dislike foreigners. Foreign merchants induce paroxysms of antipathy. Perhaps sufficient bribes will buy your way into the Nephirite quarter. Well, let's wander Khan's heart. Hmm, 46% there. 46% chance of success. Let's do it. Failed. The fall of Karakorum, the last great Khan of the surface, was corrupt and foolish and cowardly. How fortunate we are that the Leopard clan overthrew his line. Long lay may the Leopard endure. He sold the Khanate capital to the masters of the bazaar to satisfy his greed and escape battle. So Karakorum fell. So it came below the earth to the long night of the Neath. 700 years ago, Karakorum stood where London now stands. You feel eyes on you. A woman in a white and gold uniform watches you closely. Loyalty service is suspicious of foreigners who want to learn Kaganian history. One visions of the surface and 5 echoes go. No shops or shipyard. Purchase fuel at an outrageous price. How outrageous? 50 echoes for fuel? It's getting worse. Time to leave. Although we are going to need to find some supplies and the like soon. Or we could just make for fallen London. Via the salt lines, of course. What? What am I fighting? I don't see anything. Well, sucks to be you, Rat Barge. This should take me straight to the salt lines, and we can pick up some sphinx stone? Salt stone? I can't remember what it is. Nope. Shorts are just pants without the extra bits. Some creepy frogs. Hello, creepy frogs. Get yourself a pair of jeans. Make yourself some jorts. They are indeed, Foxy. We have determined this at the Pants Rat. Too long have we suffered under the oppression of pants. However, for formal occasions, they are acceptable. We'll lose some terra. We've actually lost quite a lot of terra. Compile that. I do have 20, yes. Zoop. Find that military clothing is the only thing that the testing actually means anything about. big pants can pay us to wear pants. Until then, no pants, damn it. What you gonna do, crab boy? Can't catch me. I would have maybe liked to have stopped, but I only have a few precious bits of fuel left. This is fun, crab boy. Yeah, really want some torps. Either way, we're almost home. We only have 2 supplies and 4 fuel, but we did find a lot of interesting things. Leaky, flaccid, serious putty. Unfortunate maximum bacon, but money does bring you the important things like food and shelter. That's true. 2 toxic things combined to make an edible thing that's quite good on a bit of lamb. Or some pork. Nice salted pork. Now we're off to Bad Tevener's Abyss. Indeed. I'm glad you enjoyed Maximum Bacon. Feel free to drop by. I do this most Wednesdays unless I have some debilitating reason not to. I also stream on Fridays for you, I believe. Oh, Saturdays. Saturdays. Let's collect our messages. Someone wants to sign on. Blind Bruiser is in the dock. What a propitious and encouraging occasion this is, to meet again here in this place which has been so very fortunate for us both. Allow me to shake you warmly by the hand, since you have demonstrated your unswerving and commitment to fair dealing and honest conveyance. Very good. My patron will toast you. I'm taking payment, I don't care. I got 5 fuel and 4 supplies. Oh, shady figure, oh no. Once more we find ourselves here in the quayside, and I suppose you might say the lip of the well of opportunities. Both drink deeply from this well, by which I mean my patron as a task for you. Take payment, across the ocean, and bring back a little package. Okay. 1,000 echoes. Package from Polythreme in the Sea of Voices. I wouldn't dream of losing it. Let's deliver our Sphinx Stone. I've delivered the Sphinx Stone. Let's go and talk to the Bespectacled Admiral. Mount Palmerston. Frost found. As beautiful as they say, I doubt it. Poets are notorious liars, but liars make bad poets. A paradox, isn't it? Never mind, your report. Is it still as revolting as they say? What about the smell? De-echoes, 1 fuel. Irem, oh god, oh god. What tense is it written in it? Oh god, look, just read it to my colleague here. He'll give you your fee. I'll be over there when you're done. Assault lines. Strategic information. Could have sworn. Mars menaces objectives. Ah, the Mangrove College, of course, I forgot. Well, gotta find the Mangrove College first. Don't know where that's going to be. Probably to the south. We could get a Lampad class cutter now. The trade goes down to 2,000 echoes. But we have our package that we must deliver. Well, I will be right back, everybody. Just 1 second. Oh, sorry about that. Nature had to call for a second there. Sorry, Treacher Peppermint. Okay, where was I? We were inspecting ship types and considering other things. Back to London. We do need a touch of repairs. Five echoes for a New Zealand. In you go, boy. Welcome on board. And continue. Let's visit our lodgings. A delivery from a grateful friend. Do I have 10 spaces? I do. A medley of fine vintages. No, it can't be. Greyfields 1868. A few bottles of Broken Giant 1844. Isn't that from before the fall? Only Mr. Wise is said to stock these in any quantity, and it's reserved them for selling to the very few with whom it considers itself on intimate terms. You extract one of the best ones for personal consumption. The rest will fetch a fine price. 10 casks of mushroom wine. I don't have the vial of highly questionable blood anymore. Interesting. Dry dock. Could employ. No, I think it will serve for now. We do need a surgeon. One fragment and 50 echoes. Memory of distant shores. 10 echoes for that. We have one of those. I do need repairs, even if they are small. We can try. Ah, success. 3 fuel for a new total of 16. Yep. Go back up to full. We need anything to sell at the wolf stack. Could sell our zoop. Yeah, I think we're good. Well, I'm going to need quite a bit of fuel. So let's buy that up to 20. Buy that up. No, and we're full. Let's sell some of this line then. And I think we're going to go to Vendobite and sell it there. That'll do. Don't really need any specimens from the... Spend some time with our family. We can give them the outlandish artifact. 7 memoirs. We could pass that on, but we have other things for it. Don't think I have any others. Nope. Alright, off we go to Vendobite to sell this mushroom wine. And then I think we need to head to Polythrum. And on the return journey, the salt lines. That's right, intelligent fuzzy death claws. I vaguely remember that. We haven't been to Hunter's Keep for some time. Let's visit the sisters. They're always a cheery lot. Do some news, and we shall luncheon with Phoebe today. Phoebe has a story to tell, 2 lovers parted by water, of a raven that carried messages of a fragment of the moon. She beats time on the table as she speaks, as if to a song that only she can hear. The effect is hypnotic. Her attention drifts out through the skylight of the dining room to the false stars glittering in the roof of the cabin. You drift like a puffball's ball. The Unterzee shimmers below the island, like mineral specimens of black velvet. Excuse me. Ships bob like wood chips between the islands. Vast spine things pulse in the depths. There's a scent, like a scent before a storm. The storm came, Phoebe says quietly. Everything changed. Somewhere in there, finished the last course. The scowling maid reluctantly serves cheese and butter for biscuits. Very good. Let's compile a port report. Alright, off we go. That looks like something that wishes to die. Had to dawdle in his firing arc, didn't I? Ah, Firkin prisoner honey. Lovely. from the Mangrove College. Still have not done that yet. Oh, visit a certain little restaurant. You found the Vengeance of Jonah. The twisty tip of an odd little side street, welcoming yellow light glows from the gilt-lettered windows of a restaurant. A sign reads, Vengeance of Jonah. A beefy tomb colonist bustles up. A grey mustache pokes impertinently from out under his bandages. Come in, come in. Well, we could recruit him. 300 echoes, perhaps not. Tomb colonies. We'll just gather some gossip. It's just a nice port report. And we'll sell off all of our mushroom wine. At least most of our mushroom wine. Buy some more supplies as a result. Now we can sell Visions of the Surface for 15. Not really worth it. We must go to the Mangrove College, wherever that is. By way of Polythrum. Which I suppose we'll skirt past Guider's Morn for. And avoid all the darkness that Unterzee has to offer. So many questions, so little answered. Oh, bats. Bats are free supplies. Got him. Well, a little way. I'm not sure how far down it's supposed to be. They never specify, just that it's underneath. You can get back to the surface, but it takes a couple of days even to get there through a series of locks. Greetings, Ilsu. Damn pirates. Some parabola linen. How many free slots do I have? About 10. Might be worth refueling in Guider's Morn. I love them letters. It's a very good name, Ilsu. Which I assume I'm saying right. Unless it's Isu. A very chancy challenge, you say. Ah, we failed, and we lost a crew. Explore. Yep, failed again. Lost another crew. This happens here a lot. Buy our fuel back up to 20. Buy 2 of these and no more. Good. And off we go. It was very choosy. It was very not paying me off. Just got me beat up slightly and 2 people dead. But we always have more crew. Well, let's stop off at the Iron and Misery Cove funging station. Correct, it's for Allo's ship-breaking shenanigans. That's why it's so cheap to remind him that he does need oxygen. We'll accept a volunteer. We could try and get some supplies. We have space. Could go either way. We're fortunate. 1 supplies. They do have some supplies, but I think we're good for the moment. Let us continue to the east. Well, at the moment, Mav is just using his watch for that, so it doesn't work very well. An Alakias class corvette. Gain 1 tale of terror, 1 menace nightmares. You've lost 1 restful night. Oh, she's a good way to farm money, if nothing else. I have to pay her back for that gross tattoo she gave me. Damn you. Haha, you missed. Investigate the record. Once again, I am the victor. 200 echoes. Words are no longer needed. The pirate poet bows her head, acknowledging your victory. Next time, though, a smile. Do not expect her to go easy on you. Yes. On the day we saw the pillars of Irem, they are not what I expected. Irem is a place one does not expect. That is its nature. You have seen in your dreams, yes, you who found this page long after my death. I knew when I wrote these words you would read them. One day, Irem taught me this, and now Irem's lesson is all that remains of me. One memory of distant shores, total of 6. Interesting. Suppose you can always just screen share the watch. Oh, we're making good time for Polythrum. I think that's where I have to go. I should probably actually check that journal. What's my iron at? 42? I have 10 secrets. Let's go 3 of these. Let's speak to you. Three of those. And speak to you. Let's increase these a bit too. Go. Leveled up. Should I stop off at Nuncio? Oh, there's Khan's shadow as well. Let's go visit the poor, mad letter keepers. Well, let's assemble a port. And then do some work at the Dead Letters office. Descend to the basement with mirrors. I now have a searing enigma. Let's read that one. The descent is long and slow. You count the turns at first, but the time comes when you can't see the square of the light in front of the door above. And mark how far you've come around the spiral. The illumination you have contrived gets dimmer, the further you go until you come at last to a floor whose base you can barely see. The floor is carpeted with, at first you think it's gravel, but no, it's broken shards of clay and stone, scribbled over in words too old to read. The center of the space is a needle of deep black rock, glossy as resin, glittering with ice, inscribed with 3 arcane sigils that hurt to look at. You feel a meaning to their presence, a prohibition or a commandment that all things must come to their destined place, that what cannot be delivered immediately must be saved against a future date. That message that goes unheard is a tragedy. The signal must be carried, no matter how far, no matter through what darkness, no matter whether the sender still lives, nor whether the recipient can even read the language of the writing. The inscription resolves itself and is known to you. No word lost. Interesting. Visited the center stone. Sit for a moment. You relax you against a shelf. It isn't comfortable at all, but the edge of the middle box is prodding you between the spine and the shoulder blade. And somewhere off to your right is a sound like horse breathing. It doesn't matter. In the dimness, you see, or remember, or dream, a silver tree growing in a courtyard. Their every lasts only a few heartbeats before you're properly awake again. There's no way out but up. At the surface, the dead letter office is still here, its machine still working, its basket still filling with missed invitation and misplaced wills. Shouldn't have been blasted away, destroyed by the force of what lies beneath. Accept responsibility for an envelope of heavy cream paper. Manners aren't what they used to be. In this invitation to a dinner party, now long in the past, an occasion for bishops and dons. The opening is formal, but the closing lapses into exasperation. Do please grant me the pleasure of response, this time so that I may know whether you set your place. You will not reply. This is positively the last time I will invite you anywhere. Another glance at the sender and the recipient. Ah, yes. With those two involved, this is at least saleable gossip. Ah, got an intriguing snippet. Good morning, Redcastle Bowser. How are you today? Tell the postal rat what you saw below. You start to explain, but your language doesn't have the right words to express it. The weight of the delivery commandment, the sacred necessity for every word to reach its destination, and the countless individual miscarriages of meaning from one entity to another which have occurred throughout history and are still occurring, to the detriment of the whole universe. He holds up a paw. Not going to understand it no matter how much you explain, he says. And I'm glad, as if I did understand, I'd be likely to run, and working where and as I do. After a moment he adds, likely you'll forget, at least you'll forget some of it. After all, you never wore the uniform, and he points out to where your hair has singed at the temples, and gives you an ointment he keeps in a drawer. Let's end our shift. Go to the tavern. We can judge the postman in light of what I now know, or I can honor them in the light of what I now know. The parcels you've weighed and entered in the logbooks, the things that oozed out of them, the postmen are delighted by your incredulity and shock. The civilian finally understanding the full horror of the post. They have stories even worse than those. Let me tell you, hang on a moment, Postmaster Scritch. You've all heard your rubbery love stories already. It's nothing what the tomb colony pickles. Pickled what is what, I want to know. What about the Sooth and Cooper crate and how he had to scrape the bits off the masonry? Do you remember? The night runs late. You know, they tried. Saints and martyrs. Nothing about them now seems comical or strange. The regulation maintenance of their uniforms is a mark of holy dedication. Their scars are earned by faith and hard work. They were given an impossible task, but none excuse themselves just because of that. The hairless postwoman sees your glance and returns a rueful smile. I'm now trusted, understanding, and I've lost 5 terror. Cool. We can begin again. They do have some fuel for a decent enough price. May as well refill back up to 20. Buy an extra supply. And then we can set sail for Polythrum via Godfall. Oh, I'm just going to kill this rat barge. Pardon me, rats. I understand that you have a place to go, but you seem to be trying to raid me. I'm afraid that I cannot tolerate such a thing. Yes, head towards the vortex again. What? I can't get their stuff? Ah, that's just silly. Oh well, it's gone forever. Absolute rip-off. Cannot believe it. Hello, Drift Pirate. Or rather, ahoy. I'm going to continue on, head to Godfall, see what port reports I can get there, and then go to Polyprene. Again, really? Do we have to do this dance over again? Investigate the wreckage. Rescue the pirate poet. 300 echoes this time. Thank you very much, madam. Have a lovely day. And some more Powerball aluminum. They do, they really do. I can see more. Nope. Ah. Have a port report from Godfall. We have no shops and no shipyards. Indeed, that is the way. And continue down, hopefully we can offload this. I would like to find the Mangrove College. I assume it's somewhere in this direction. Indeed. Good old rum. The old Captain Morgan. We have taken a lot of damage though, we're down to 30. Yet we have plenty of supplies and fuel. Collect the Cherry Man's cargo. Port report of polythreme. Do I have 6 units? No, I have 4 units. Ah, this is where I should have sold that Judgment's egg. How annoying. Yep, Stuka. I will hydrate. Cheers indeed. So we need to take these souls back to London. We have not explored much of this south. And we won't be, because that's awful. Damn angler crabs. Begone, crab. I have no desire to tussle with you in these waters. Instead, I will make for the giant mushroom. We have discovered the Unterzee. Gather some intelligence. Visit the village. Money for supplies and Blemigan. Okay. 1 docile Blemigan and 1 supplies. Perhaps not. No shops, no shipyard. Away we go then. It's the Micus run. Every one of my CDDA delay, yeah. I'll get ya. See if we can find this mangrove college. The Swallowing Isles, some distance to the southeast. Ah, mushrooms are creepy looking, that's for sure. Tiggerlar Bay. The Melting Isle. That looks like it has... That looks like the Mangrove College, perhaps. The Mangrove College. There we go. The directions take you to a frondy hovel in the shade of a swamp oak. When you knock, the whole thing quivers if it's come unmoored. The directions take you to a frondy... Yep. A tall woman, imposing despite layers of mud, opens the door. Has he sent word? She asks and grins slightly. Let's be off. To Venderbite. Don't spare the engines. It's been too long. One shady sort. Meet my contact. Once inside the hut, you might imagine yourself back in London. Bright candlelight, the carpet a little spotted with damp, even wallpaper similarly spotted. Two philosophers wait on you both, a little sulkily. The enigmatic gentleman will say nothing until you've both eaten dinner. A fine, if eclectic meal, cavern trout, swamp fruits, spices from Adam's Way in Wither, served on deftware at Lacquered Ming. At a Lacquered Ming table. Interesting. When you're done, he gives you a carefully itemized list of ship sightings, some excellent port, and a little something to take away. Remember me to the Admiral, he says fondly. Oh, I got some Mutterschalt. Tastes like clean air and crystallized ginger. Also has the interesting property of paralyzing the vocal cords if you sprinkle it in your stew. Yeah, we lost some more terror. We're actually quite terrorless at the moment. We'll compile a port report. And we can put a Blemming in there, sure. Shows no interest in the village, it disappears straight into the jungle. There, little Blemigan, thrive. Thrive and multiply. You've lost one Blemigan, new total 0. Blemmigans aboard, new, tow, 2. There you go. We put Blemmigans ashore. Fine, I guess. But now we must return to London with our vital intelligence. Broccoli is quite delicious. It's a good question. From what I've been able to gather, they're sentient jellyfish. Sentient mushroom jellyfish. The Reef of Roses. Pretty, but probably deadly. Yeah, I don't trust anything that propagates via spores. This woman is going to be the death of me. Yes, once again, rescue her. I'll take the 100 echoes and the crate of curiosities. Thank you. We got some spider silk out of it. Ah, we've discovered Visage. This is always a fun little quest, I think. Lots of reading, though. Their faces may not be naked. Yes, the mask place. We'll create a port report first and foremost, and then we shall go ashore. All those who enter must play their parts. The sign is visible only after you've crossed the threshold. Check into the customs house. All visitors must pass one by one through a room guarded by a person in the mask of a moon moth. We'll choose the frog mask, I believe. Moon moth lift the mask and place it over your head. The eye holes are large and are fitted with spectacles. These improve your view of the environment, though you must look bulb-eyed from the outside. There is also a mechanism attached to your mouthpiece which magnifies any sound you make, even your breathing. You start to thank the moon moth and it comes out as a booming croak. May you profit from your visit in the knowledge, says Moon Moth. Its wings fold neatly over its back. We shall visit the Library of Parts. Stoop at the lintel, enter the dark. A room of heavy stone, guarded by a golden statuette of a woman with outstretched arms. The scroll niches stored with correspond to a variety of masks: the jackal, the lioness, the crocodile, and dung beetle. A woman in the mask of a lotus blossom is standing at a lectern, reading in silence. Steel. Write notes in the margins. Taking the nearest, you read it aloud. For guarding against the loss of the heart. Moon Moth takes it from you, rolls it tightly, and returns it to its niche. There are many ways of guarding against the loss of the heart, as there are different masks, it explains, in that same light and indifferent voice. You can visit the Flood Court. The Flood Court is a long stone room with 2 ranks of columns on each side. Currently the court is ankle-deep in water, though water stains on the stone show that the flood has often reached higher, sometimes up to the height of your waist. In a raised niche at the far end of the room sits a statue of a man with the head of a ram. He holds a jar from which water flows out onto the floor. Depth per day. From the corner, Moon Moth picks up a graduated stick. He shows you how a person standing at the end of the room may dip the stick into the water and use it to measure the water level at a pre-selected point, and how the measurements are compared with measurements written on a calendar. If the water level does not match the calendrical position, an assembly of pipes and drains is used to adjust it. It used to be, says the moth, that the water rose and fell of its own accord, and the people before wrote down what height it reached. Now the water is still, but thanks to their actions we can replicate the rise and fall, so it is still to be pleasing to the god of flood. Completes his explanation with a half-body bow towards the statue of the ram deity. You exclaim how much you admire this room and its excellent pool. Your words are as always amplified into a croak. Other mask turns towards you. Crocodile, lotus, blossom, crescent moon, but no one speaks. You have garnered a suitable degree of disdain. Moth quietly applauds your performance of froghood. Anything else we can do there? Moon Moth is startled. Apparently no other frog has gone so far as to attempt to deface the library's holdings. He gets the pen away from you, expostulating. Later you find the writing down to a record of what you just did. to be added to the library of parts, a recollection of what can be expected from frogs. Aware of visitor rolls. Dead frog would be proud. It has been making subtle overtures for some time. You only now understand them. It's keen to He draws you aside in the closet of the customs house. Had enough of visage, it tells you frankly. Here, you take my mask and pretend to be me. I'll trade in the visitor mask and get on some departing ship. Get my life back. Its face. No, now you see her face. It's aging but unlined. A lifetime of never needing to use facial expression. Aware of moth roll. Lines in wet ground. Each morning the man in the cobra mask draws a line in the mud, flat with a pointed steel rod. This apportions to each inhabitant a small trapezoidal area from which to harvest mushrooms and scrape salt. No plot is ever preserved from one day to the next. This man is the chief geometer, keeper of directions, master of land measures and sea measures. A necklet of lapis beads, perhaps. Feeling blue, he gives them to a servant with orders that they be crushed and the powder made to pigment and the pigment used for painting. It is uncertain whether it is a deadly insult. You aren't thrown out of the house at any rate. Okay. Visit the side of the face. You must, of course, wait until your works with the day's crop of frogs and locust is complete. It would not be suitable to bring them along. Intended by some awkwardness. Ah, damn. Simply failed. The priests gather round, the bull capturing its blood and cups. Ask whether the bull will be alright. It doesn't look well. The tokens are small and not very valuable. As suits your lower rank in the community, the priests arrange them in a table with all other small items. As you go out, you pass by more impressive gifts. Drafting tools from the chief geometer, scales from a jackal, a heap of foreign coin brought home by a crocodile. I am now aware of higher rolls. This is a journey of several steps and may conclude your current visit. Okay. A proud nose. It is a festival day. The great stone face has been illuminated from the forehead to chin with blazing torches, so that the profile is visible from the side more clearly than you have ever seen. So the profile is visible from the side more clearly than you have ever seen it. Flourishing of years is awake, says the gentlest figure in the crocodile mask. Fall in with the others. You go through and were truly one of them, carrying nothing with you but your mask and your costume. May your heart be light as a feather, says the woman in the lotus blossom mask as you fall into line behind her. I don't like this. The road you follow leads through switchbacks along the side of the face and finally to the ear of flourishing years and into the cave that is her ear. The tunnel bends back on itself, and all lights have now been extinguished. There is nothing to guide you but the hand of the person behind you on your back and the movement of the person in front of you. The one who walks beside you wears a bat mask. Fortunately, the floor of the tunnel is very smooth and presents no stumbling blocks. Sound carries strangely in this place. However, sometimes you cannot hear your own footsteps, and sometimes a breath comes back to you audible from someplace ahead in the line. Well, let's keep going. Footsteps of the people are steady and synchronized as you go further. For how many years has this been done? For how many will it be done in the future? What's your step here? Says Batmas to you. It's an undervoice, it's an accent. It's the accent of Wolfstack Docks. The floor is about to get squishier, and sure enough it does. At last the tunnel opens out, and you and all the other congregants spread out in cavernous space. I sure hope he has my back. I don't like where this is going. Some dark god under a face in the Unterzee. Here we are, the new year. We gather under our one mask of the flourishing of years. Her face is turned to the god. Protected by her mask, we remove our own. Protected by her script, we may speak outside our parts. Here and there is the sound of people fumbling with ties and strings. Your own face feels different with the mask off. There are things here to learn, perhaps to your advantage. Wait and listen. Not much for blackmail. You move stealthily through the dark, hearing the one knot of conversation and another. The secrets exchanged do not offer much leverage, but you can see the owner's secrets. Here and there you catch the smallest fragment of something that might serve you on future occasion. The memory of a voyage each, a half-rumor about the Carnelian coast, a muttering about the Admiralty. At the end of the hour comes a woman with a feather of shimmering silver, which she tucks into your hand, symbol of innocent heart that will not be eaten by the jackal. The bell rings and the time of speech is over. You all begin to put your mask back on. It is possible, you cannot know for sure, that in the cover someone has exchanged a mask with someone else. It is an orderly and perfect line that emerges again from the ear of flourishing years. If anyone watches from above, they must surely be satisfied. Nice. Respecter of the sacred mysteries, and I now have a captivating treasure and a secret. Time to go. When the other citizens are distracted, you find your way to a familiar customs house and rid yourself of mask and robe. There is satisfaction in laying aside a role as well performed. Very good. Well, back to London we go. There we go. Got me a captivating treasure, which can be used in many different ways. An exciting little thing as well. Could have done a bunch of different ways, but I like that way. Thank you, Stuka. We still have our things to return to. Oh wow, we really only have 25 health left. We need to get out of here. I was going to stop at Port Cecil, but I think it's better if we just head straight for home. Ailmau music, yes. Is there a way to dismiss this? Good. Someone take the theremin away from this man. He's gone insane. Aha. We did find Station 3, though. Gonna have so many port reports to turn in. Ah, the experiment from the beginning. We forgot all about it. Deliver the lawn fluke. Indeed. He's haunting the cargo dock. You could just hear the occasional fuck. After careful setup, the shed is empty, save a writing desk and a gigantic mass of needles. The anxious student snaps off the tip of one and twirls it between his fingers. I hypothesize that the flukes have a method of absorbing and storing our lived experiences. It follows, therefore, that there should exist a means of transmitting, reliving that experience like so. He stabs the needle through his palm, his eyes dull. You heard Captain Harris, Zayla. Target the Ogadai and fire torpedoes. And if you hit one of the lone flukes, then by God and Her Majesty I will put you out of the airlock and let the spiny bastards take you. He awakens from the reverie a moment later. That will do. Pass me your notes. I'll carry on the experiments from here. And I've gotten 2 extraordinary implications from that. Stand on the high point of your ship and look at the shore. There's a steepled building on the horizon, but as far as largest thing in sight. By far the largest thing in sight. No cross marks the top of it, nor any other symbol you recognize. Very modest challenge. Let's go. Box lies broken on the ground at one of the far keys. No one has cleared away the debris. A torn label reading Sooth and Coup. A curved shard of apothecary bottles. A curious oval of silvered metal the size of a cameo brooch. Succeeded in the mirrors. Okay. Return certainly with a certain delivery. The gate will be open. You'll know if you find it. Yeah, it's a Sooth and Copper long box. Which we can get from that place up north. Oh. Once again, I'm sorry, I will be right back. Once again, my apologies. That time the doggo needed to go outside. He was very upset. No worries, Drift Pirate. Thanks for coming out. I'm glad we enjoy my choice in smooth jazz. I like to keep it comfy here. We have 10 supplies. Let's just do a port report and be on our way. We don't really need anything here. But since we have the fuel, I'm going to take a brief detour over to the Crimean Canal. Albertine Gates. Oh, a fog bank just kicked up. Crimean Canal staging area. We need like 22 fuel for that. We'll gather a port report, and we'll listen for some surface go. Which gives us a vision of the surface. We have 6 fuel, that's enough to get back to fallen London at any rate. What is in our hold? We have bolts of spider silk, some mutter salts, some wine, firkin herring. Sell off that parabola linen. And a captivating treasure. Cannot be sold. Cannot be sold. Okay. Fair enough. We will keep it though. The calm before the storm. Like, I don't know why these people live on an island when there's a perfectly good landmass to the left of them. They just stare at it and be like, no, that looks hard. We could build a bridge, but we don't want to. It's gonna stay on our shitty island. The music in this game is just so good. When you return to the Wolfstack docks. Nothing more dangerous than a moldy ship biscuit. Ah, we have the Claudriere. We should take her on land. Oh, very good, very good. Please accept this small token of my thanks, and please also accept my thanks and my patron's thanks, which we, being persons of honor, understand the true nature of dealings is much more important. Still, spending money is always good, isn't it? And a captain must eat, and also so must a ship. Which is why if you look under the pier, they will find a few helpful contributions of fuel and so forth. Lost one, 200 echoes, Blind Bruiser has departed. Good. How much do you cost? Very good. I now have the Claudriere. Now, if I remember, I'm going to my journal. No, hold. Should be in here somewhere. Strategic information. Use. Now have vital intelligence. Which we'll give to the voracious diplomat. The diplomat takes no notes and makes no sign, only listens in absolute silence, and finally nods and declares, I'll pass this on to where it will do the most good. Thank you. Which is 600 echoes. Much better. Oh, we have quotes now, yes. We could acquire an agent. We will do that. Go to our lodgings. Visit my study. into an heirlooms. They'll adorn your lodging until the day you die. After that, your family will probably sell them. Dread surmise, port report Irem, port report. I see, if I gather all the port reports in a dread surmise, I also need... interesting. Well, let's take the captivating treasure and turn it into an heirloom. Just in case. We'll read the morning papers. And spend some time with our family. Tales of the Surface. Good. Well, we have 2,299. That sells for 50. That sells for 70. Sell off that and that. May as well keep it. We did pay for it after all. So we could upgrade to a Lampad class cutter. Hull 50. That's a downgrade. Deck forward, orcs, bridge, and engines. We really want to save up for a 4-kid class corvette, which is much more hull, much more hold. Well, a little bit of the same hold. Weighs 2,000, quarters of 15, and 9, bonus of 5. But it gives us a deck, a forward, an orcs, a bridge. Oh yeah, so a deck and a forward weapon slot. That would be much better. Or a Calico class merchant. The frigate is really where you want to be. 15,000 echoes though. Spency. Very spency. First and foremost, let's talk to the Dark Speckled Admiral. Port reports. Good. Hunter's Keep. Godfall. Vendibite. Nuncio. This is my colleague, Mr. Villeen, Ministry of Public Decency. Mr. Villeen, this is good captain's report is here. You would care to, yes, the fire is already lit. Let us, there we go. Now only rashes remain. It might have caused such a lot of trouble. I love that one. Does get us 100 echoes, though. Abbey Rock. Cumian Canal. I spent time in Miscellania. 50 echoes. Oh yes, the muddy philosophers do tell. Port report Mangrove College. The king with 100 hearts. What a useful fellow. Without his exports, I'd be delivering my own coal. Lovely. Visage. Dim you. Anything in particular you need? Retrieve strategic information from the Empire of Hands, far to the east. Okay. It takes us to 2,919. Maybe we should just buy some upgrades. She's not the greatest ship in the Unterzee, but she's pretty good. Spenty is a good word. It's the best forward weapon I can get. I think it's a Caminus. Craft weapon. Deck weapon. The 900. Crew damage of 2, warm-up time. I see. Cloudery air. Scintillac, Solus Fruit. Yeah. Let's go to London. Could hire on more crew. And finally, dry dock. We'll use our Admiralty Beavers to repair it. Good. Well, it's cheaper to buy a secret compartment here, that's for sure. What's that do? The Illyrian is an outdated model, but it'll get you where you need to go. The Boudicca, more power, less subtlety. Best lead beater and stain rod can supply, although as usual they've skimped on the materials. Manticore number 4. Models 1 through 3 are not discussed by in polite company, but this is powerful and effective device. Mirror 6. Be sure their sins will find them out. The judgment resonator does not limit your ability to hide. Jesus. (13 to 17), 8 plus 8 damage to your iron from our iron. 15, so we can do 3 more damage with the best gun. Don't think it's really worth it though. We'll buy up our supplies and I suppose we'll be off again. We do have that mission to head to Vendabite, so we may as well do that. We do have to head over here somewhere. Head up this way, drop off into Vendabite. We have no terror, which is nice, so we can probably start looking a bit north. See what we can find up there. Always preferred north. South just feels wrong. The north has the frozen. Dump off some of our equipment here. You got lucky. If you were bugged, I was going to sink you. No one enters Vendabite as a colonist unless they pass the skin check. Tell her that he is much changed and for the worse. Says nothing. Her face grows paler and paler as you speak. Now she looks like nothing so much as a wax figure. She walks jerkily down the gangplank to meet her friend. He pays you. She says nothing. Ah, take an obvious interest in your crew, specifically the cloudery air. And tell her you met me, he says in a hoarse rasp. My mother cut my voice, hoped to fix it so I wouldn't be able to look for my daughter, so I wouldn't want to. Didn't work. Operation never completely effective. Need to know my daughter's well happy, finding enough patients, getting enough to eat and so forth. In exchange for the simplest news, he explains himself. I am her father, he says. Ordinary engineer, not the sort of parent you would want. You wish to tell the heir about this encounter, you can do so by speaking with her. I do need a strange catch. The veils are quite low, but so are our pages and our hearts. Cloudery is helping with that though. I think I need... Yeah, we can do that. The cooked flesh arrives in its shell, from the claws, 8 legs, body and head. She renders a dozen neat bite-sized piles of shredded flesh, sutured with mushroom or pinned together with a needle of chitin. Perhaps she has missed her calling as a chef. She denies it. My mother was a child of the surgeon in the first scene. You might say that knife work runs in the family. There is a wicked, quirking smile at the corner of the mouth. Then there are rumors about my father. She'll deny there's any truth. I need a strange cat for both of them. We do need to improve our hearts. One of your best discoveries for one of home. It's not hard to drive the bargain. She sits back after dinner and tells you this. Most people think that the hard part of surgery is finding what's wrong and taking it out, but any fool could do that. A ship's cook with a cleaver can have that part of the job, and the hard part is cutting, so you can sew it all back up again afterwards. And she demonstrates on the shark fin, leaving it in better condition than it started. Perhaps not. Shops. Well, we can buy a quick bit of supplies here. Sell some of our things. We don't have any tomb colonists. Alright. To the north. We shall adventure to the frozen north and see what we can find up here. The idea of boating has always seemed fun to me. Getting in a ship like this and just sailing off would be fun. Of course, you'd have to have some kind of income, though. If you just wanted to walk around as a vagabond. Take a boat, sail off from some port and into the great abyss and unknown. It's not all that unknown now, not with GPS and things like that. It would be quiet, that's for sure. Just sail around the world, stopping at random ports, eating the random food the people offer you. I really don't want to fight this lifeberg, but I don't think I have much choice. As long as I can keep it in the port arc. It's not particularly maneuverable. Yikes, it does do 30 damage though. No, I don't think we'll be fighting that. BPL merchant fleet, indeed. Whew, that hurt. 30 damage, that's a bit ridiculous. Oh, I know what you meant, Cthulhu. You do indeed need a bigger boat. There is a quiet, chilly town of grey stone and closed courtyard. The people are neither expecting unfriendly nor exactly hospitable. They have the irritating habit of answering a question with a question. Here and there are odd sights tucked away. A woman in an iridescent gown waves vaguely from the rock near the shore. A sorrowful sight wafts across the water towards you. An idiot castaway? A mermaid? Of course not. Mermaids are preposterous. The poor woman won't answer your hails, but she obviously in need of assistance. Oh no! 31% chance. A fanged mouth rears from the water, big enough to bite a boat in half or swallow a pig. The woman contorts and slides into the water. The tip of the monster's tail. This will be untidy. It's a formidable beast, but you are formidable too. 31% chance. A terrible toll. The beast's scales are proof against pistol shot, and it wreaks havoc before managed to bring it down. Oh. One harlot fry. And 3 Stygian ivory. And 1 crew was lost. Scrape its hatching young from along the rocks by the shore. Phew. I think that could have gotten a lot worse. We don't need shore leave, but we'll gather intelligence. Shops. We need Z stories. Why not? How many do I have? Oh well. Star shell. Did judgment hatch from this grim relic, or was it something else entirely? Don't look too closely at the eye-hurting absence of colour. We can buy supplies for Tales of Terror. Death laid out for your careful inspection. Very good. Away we go. Yeah, so did I. I thought I'd lose at least 4 or 3. The Odinson Straits. I can sense the ability to cheese here. You. A fatberg that gains sentience. Yikes. For those of you who have been here before, you'll notice this as the Xinthar cheese strategy. Come on in, Lifeberg, the water's fine. Well, if it didn't want to die, it shouldn't have chased me. Like, I'm sure when the devs made the game, they thought this was an option. And if they didn't, they should have thought about it harder. No one should underestimate the strength of cheese. We do need money more than edibles. And we got a hunting trophy and a sack of dark drop coffee. Now I needed that for a thing. I'll be damned if I can remember what it is now. Very quiet up this end of the world, though. Nothing but the occasional drip and a drop. What was I saying earlier? Oh, yeah. We could form the BPL Merchant Navy, I think. That would be fun. We just need to buy a container ship. And fuel it off some horrible idea for fuel. Hook Tom up to the engines and make him fill it with Fartonium. The world's cleanest burning ship out in these waters. We can only make one of them. We could also make it over to Mount Palmerston and pick up some more fuel. Yeah, ever since Goon made it so you could run an engine in the station off farts, I'm convinced that it's a doable thing. Exactly, it's part of the sponsorship deal. You know, he fuels our engines, we host a Wide Tom's Bean House that goes to all over the place, making it an international sensation. You know, we drop down, unload cargo, bring on guests, they eat at Wide Tom's. It's pretty good if you ask me. It's a good deal, he should definitely sign up for it. Nothing bad will happen. Good to hear, Master Mayhem. Discount Dan's discount liability insurance as well. I just want to travel and experience all kinds of weird food. I have traveled a little bit, but not enough. Plenty more things to experience. And so many different types of booze I haven't tried. The BPL floating circus. Hey, we're just gonna stop off in these random places, put on a show for you all, pass the hat around. Land-based circus and arms dealership. Come far, but the volcano cone still rears above you. Rest a little before you go the last half mile. See, why buy an old container ship when you can just go to that place in India where they break ships constantly and steal one? Steal an old container ship, refit it, sort of. I mean, they've still got engines on them most of the time. Fire it up, tow it out back to sea. The rest is reasonable. For legal reasons, this is a joke. Thank you, Streamlabs. Stuka, sorry. I was reading the Streamlabs thing. A hesitant request. Do you happen to have a case of souls for me? I'm not going to eat them. We don't eat souls usually. I'm not clear on the story it got around. I'm just told that I miss London. I miss hell. I'd like a keepsake. And all souls are ours, you know, by right. Or could just lend me yours. I'll keep it safe, much safer than at sea. If you drown, it'll be here with me for always. Mortals do drown so. She places a slender, sallow hand on your wrist. Through your cuff. It's warm as stone in the sun. It won't hurt at all. Do I want to give her my soul? Let's say no for the moment. I understand, it is a little indelicate, but I've had so few human friends. I'm sorry if I'm tactless sometimes. Sit with me a while, let's just talk. I want to have a hamper of honey fungus that your cook might find you useful. I'll bet. I'm going to say no for the moment. I don't know what'll happen. It sounds like Waterworld Gewehr. Just not bad. Let's buy some fuel. Buy a couple of supplies. There we go. Takes us up to 38. Yeah, well, fair enough. Once again, we take our horribly wounded ship to places it shouldn't go. Another Faustic Corsair. I'm pretty sure these do have rear guns, but either way I want to be shot by the rear guns, not the front guns. If you keep her in an awkward arc, you don't have to worry about it. I don't know why I was scared of these. There we go. Some supplies. Quite the boon. Well, let's head on over to the Chapel of Lights. Exactly. We call it wrestling the eel. Yep, another Lifeberg. Sorry, Lifeberg, I have no desire to fight with you today. What in the name of gods is that thing? Mountain Nomad? All speed! $40 damage! No, we're not stopping at Chapel of Lights. We're done. We are out of here. Set course for London. We are completely finished. That was 40 damage and 10 terror in one hit. A definitive strike. I gotta get home. That's the only chance I've got, is to get home and repair. On a land train, talking to ghosts of the former owner of his cyborg arm. Interesting. It does sound interesting. See, this would be a really terrible time for the pirate poet to turn up because I'm one shot away from death. What did I just say? What did I just say? Praise fog. I'm gonna have to double burn my engines. Oh, she gave up. Thank God. I was ready for it. I had my button. I had finger on that button. We'll record the change. The Raid Wheel. One sailor claims it resembles the sun, another a Hindu mandala cross. A third suggests the rose window of Chartres Cathedral. This excites mockery. Nevertheless, the reaction is positive. I'll take the terror. That was a bit unfortunate. And now a pirate frigate. Great, fantastic. That's just what we want, right? Burn the engines. Oh, this is bad. The tension, the tension. Like, those pirate frigates aren't particularly hard, but I'm so low on hull. But we're almost to Hunter's Keep. Like, even hitting the full power button is dangerous because my engines can overheat and explode, causing me hull damage. We shall go with Lucy today. Oh, we got a supply and Stone's attention. but I'm not even going to write a report. I just got to get back to London. By some miracle, we had survived. Oh, by the skin of our teeth. Alright, everybody. I think that's going to do it from me tonight. I appreciate it so much for all of you coming out and hanging out with me while I get murdered by the terrors of the Unterzee. Until next time, I will sign off then. You all have a good day.